everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. Today's guest is Cantera, an AI and voice technology expert, conversation designer, and founder of Elemental Intelligence, and works at the intersection of artificial intelligence, ethics, and human-centered technology, helping businesses adopt AI in ways that are practical, responsible, and genuinely beneficial. After years of designing AI systems inside large organizations, she realized that building powerful technology isn't enough. We all need to, ask who it serves and values and what values it reflects and how it will, shape the future of work and society. Today, she's passionate about helping more women enter the AI space while encouraging everyone to think more critically about the technology that's rapidly changing our world. And welcome to Conversations with Sekani. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk with you.
All right. So, yes, I want you to take us back basically when you were in your 20s, right? So, what fascinated you most during that period of your life? And, did you ever imagine you'd eventually go into a career in artificial intelligence?
Oh, well, I had my first baby at 25.
Mm,
So that was a huge factor. So pre-baby, I really was just kind of floundering on my path. We didn't even have the internet. That's how old I am. So it was like if you wanted to learn anything, like you had to go to the library or find an expert.
mm,
So it was really a harder time, but I was never um put off by it's a male industry. I went to culinary school at 17.
mm,
There were 20 men for every woman. I
mm,
spent from 17 to like 21, 22 working in food service and hospitality, and I was always one of the only women. So it made me really tough really early. And that is a really tough environment regardless. Restaurants are hard. It's long hours, hard, sweaty work, very like just tough characters. If you've watched The Bear, you might get a little taste of what restaurant life is like. So that really primed me, one, for having kids, and two, for not being put off by male dominated industries. I've always been interested in tech. I had my very first computer. My dad was a scientist, so we had a computer very early on, and I just took to it, like a fish to water. Um, but my mom was an amazing cook, and I think I ended up going down the culinary path because I felt like subconsciously it was sort of honoring her. Um, so I always tell people in their that age group when they're trying to figure out what they want to do for a living, and I have kids that age, like know yourself first, right? If
mm,
you're squeamish, you might not want to be a doctor, right? If you don't take orders from other people, well, you may want to be an entrepreneur. So you really have to deep dive into yourself and into your beliefs and try and figure out a path forward once you've really gotten to figure yourself out. The problem with that is you'll change a lot during your 20s. And I think one of the biggest issues, and one of the things I've done really well with my kids, is say, listen, if you start something, this is the rest of your life we're talking about. If you hate it 6 months in, you need to look at it again. Like, I was never one of those parents who were like, you need to go to medical school, you need to do everything exactly this plan. I don't believe in that. I don't think it's healthy. I think being open to what can potentially come your way and being ready to pivot makes for healthier adults.
mm.
So, your parents might hate me for saying it, but you don't have to stick to a path you will be miserable in. They say do what you love and you never work a day in your life, which um, is true and not true because you may do what you love and not be able to feed your kids or pay your bills. So you have to find this balance between all those things, and it's a tall order. It's a lot to ask of especially somebody just, in your last year of high school or asking a 17-year-old to figure that out right then and there in that exact moment isn't fair to the rest of their life. Like, figure out what's in front of you right now, how you feel right now, map it, right? If you love hair and makeup, what are all the different paths that could branch from hair and makeup, right? You can own your own salon, you can own a chain of salons, you could cut hair in a nursing home because you love caring for old people. You can try and be an influencer. I don't push people in that direction, but you could definitely create content that works as marketing for your salon. So, map all the offshoots. If you've ever seen what a knowledge graph looks like, kind of create, find that thing that you love and you're interested and map out from there, and then try and incorporate your personality with what you think will work. And if your goals are really lofty, like, yeah, I want to own a chain of salons, you need to learn about business and money besides hair and makeup. So a lot of it is mapping and really just figuring out. I'm always so envious of those people who are like, oh, I knew I wanted to be a doctor when I was 4, right? Like, since childhood, I knew I wanted to do X. That is such a gift. And if you don't have that, you have to really figure out what it is you want to do, where it fits with the type of person you are, and just sort of create a loose map and be open to change and pivot.
All right. Well, thank you, Anne, for that actually. And like you said, before you make decisions, first of all, figure out what you like, right? Just make sure you know yourself well to make decisions, right, later in life. And okay, like you said, you admire people who, when they were very little, they knew what they wanted. Well, personally, when I was little, I wanted to be a banker, and now I don't even like anything relating to numbers. So I don't know what went wrong, but
Yeah.
but yeah,
But that's the whole
um,
point, right? Things change
right.
and it's okay. I think a lot of parents put shame on
Mm.
kids for not following the path, especially in certain cultures. It's like, oh, you cannot be a potter, right? Like, you
Right.
can be the best potter in the world and you're still bringing shame to our family. It's like that. It's so bad for humanity. It's so bad for
Mm,
your health as a human to get locked into that, right?
mm,
Like,
right.
in this time of social media has hurt so much, so many of the people who are in their 20s. Technology has hurt so many people who are in their 20s. It's like being free to make sure your mental health is protected could mean different things to different people, but it's okay if taking care of yourself doesn't align with what other people expect from you, but you still need to pay your bills, right? So
Right.
if you love something, there's not a good financial path, then maybe you can find something adjacent to that thing that does have a decent financial path, and that thing can become your hobby. Or, that you can create content around that thing that you love so much and then pursue something else just adjacent to it where you might actually be able to pay your bills, right? It's all about planning and work ethic. And I know people hate hustle culture, but if you love something, are you really hustling?
Right. Exactly. I mean, if you love something, are you really hustling, or are you just, doing what makes you happy? Right. So that's different. So
Right.
yes, I want us to, talk about AI ethics and the future,
Yes.
basically.
Yes.
So, artificial intelligence, it seems to dominate every conversation today. So beyond the headlines, what do you think most people misunderstand about AI?
Well, there is a lot to the whole ethics story. There is, the IP issue. Yes, it has been trained on people's book. And I'm an artist, so I'm not okay with that at all. But I also have a
Mm,
friend named Eric who his company takes authors and musicians and artists and helps them get their money from these big AI companies. So I
yes.
think that at somehow, some way, they need to be compensated. But I'm not going to abandon AI because that's not solved yet. The environmental piece, we evolve and get better over time, right? Like coal used to
Right.
be a thing, right? And it evolved, right? We're getting better and better. Well, before this current US administration, we were definitely doing on a better path, but generally humans get better and better at things. I know somebody who works in micro data centers. They may be less harmful than these mega data centers. There's the dumbing down of humans. There's the character AI things with kids committing suicide. So I think what's happened was we had free reign. It and the problems have surfaced. We know what types of problems are egregious enough that they should be regulated, right? So I think there should be regulation in in incrementally as the problems surface, there should be regulation around them. But ethics mean different things to different people. For me, it was oh, I learned how to build these things that big companies are going to use as an excuse to fire people, and I have to sleep at night. I cannot have thousands of people not being able to feed their kids on my head. I cannot do it. So my solve was to only work with underserved businesses. I work with small, female, minority, veteran-owned businesses. That is my client base, and that is where I'm comfortable because I can teach them how to use AI as an equalizer, how to keep their business open. I mean, I was a mother of three with a family business. My husband, I might as well have been single. My husband worked so much, 70 hours. He was never home. For someone to have come in and given me 5 hours of my week back would have been an enormous gift. And I think that's what AI can give small business owners. It can take, if you can't afford a new employee, but you will as soon as you can, and you need to just automate some of these workflows, or even just, your content generation or whatever it is. I don't, I think it's very ethical to help single, small, and underserved people get ahead.
All right. So it's about helping them get ahead, right? And speaking of jobs, because you mentioned it, right? A lot of people worry that AI will take their job, right? So from your perspective, what skill should, young people or young adults develop now that would, help them remain valuable in like an AI-driven future?
Yeah, it's interesting because there's a lot of media saying, "Oh, AI is why Meta laid off 8,000 people. AI is
Mm,
why." Now, it's not because AI is doing the work of those people. It's because that tech CEO decided, "I want all the money that I'm spending on these 8,000 people to invest in the future of AI. I want that money back to invest." So it's not that AI is doing the work of these people, it's they're being laid off to fund future AI work. So
mm,
the media is lying because I build these things, right? What made me, one of the things that made me leave corporate was I don't want to build these agentic systems that will put people out of work. My saying since the beginning, my mantra since the beginning, when I first got into this AI stuff, 4.5 years ago, I think we're at now, was assistants, not replacements.
Mm,
right? And now, but leave a concept like that in the hands of a corporation. Of course, they'll bastardize it into something that makes no long-term sense because that's what they do. It's all about the next quarter. So instead of in their minds, and I've seen this, they're like, oh, my team of 20 can now be a team of two super ICs.
mm,
Now, if you take 20 people and reduce them down to two, and you have two people doing the work of 20, what happens if one of those people gets hit by a bus? What happens if
mm,
one of them wants to go on maternity? It's a long-term mess, and they
mm,
don't think long-term. So as far as skills, first of all, become a competent AI operator. We are
mm,
seeing so much incompetence in just how people use it. Like, write me a book or write me a post or, you know, using it as pure slop generation with no context. Be conscious of being a good AI operator. A good AI operator uses it as an extraction of their own knowledge, but also as a teacher. So I have a website called voiceofai.io. It's a free AI learning because I think in this period of time where people could be laid off so easily, being able to upskill for free is very important. I don't charge for it. I don't even take your email address. Um, I think it's important to understand being a good operator in how you use AI. One of the things that one of the ways I've used it that I loved is when I was building that website, I would say, all right, interview me on the subject of voice AI. Ask
mm,
me as many questions as you need to build a lesson. And I would answer all the questions. And I would really enjoy it. I'd be really exhausted. It's very exhausting. I spent a lot of days answering these questions and having it organize my answers. But then I would say, all right, where are my gaps? And then it would say, all right, well, you skipped X, Y, and Z. And I'd be like, oh my God, I need to educate myself on X, Y, and Z. So I'm learning where my skill gaps were by creating lessons based on where I actually have skills. So there's really wise ways to use it, and there's
mm,
really awful ways to use it. So becoming a skillful, reliable AI operator who doesn't just say, give me a blank is something I write about. If you my LinkedIn is a great place to find me, and inside my LinkedIn, in the featured section, there's a lot of writing on how to be a thought innovator and not a slop
mm,
generator. And that's one of the things I'm like, don't be a slop generator, be a thought innovator. But you can use AI to learn AI. Like I see people paying for these classes on how to use Claude. Claude could teach you Claude. ChatGPT could
right.
teach you Claude, right? Like use it to learn. Just learn
Mm,
how to verify. If it's a high risk subject or a brand new subject, you might need to ask it to do a web search. Like say you use a tool like in the we say Figma. So in the old days their training would end at a certain date. So if Figma did a release, it couldn't answer you questions about what happened on Figma yesterday on that release, so it would make stuff up. So if you feel like what you're asking it is really fresh and new, ask it for a web search and ask it to bring you back verifiable links. Like these are all skills that you have to build to be a good AI operator. And honestly, if you don't want to use it at all, don't. But if you see your business falling behind, or you want to go live off grid and make I don't know, paper lanterns, go for it. Because I think what's happening, and I'm sure most of you can agree, we've seen the slop images, we've seen the slop writing, the slop music. I'm hoping as an artist, it will drive people to want human crafted, human made
mm,
anything, everything from bread to art to music to blankets to clothes. Like, I hope there will be a beautiful renaissance of human crafted things. But I also hope there'll be an AI renaissance where we don't have to spend 4 hours on the phone fighting with our insurance company, that our personal assistant agent will go fight that battle for us. And in the end, I really think a lot of the fights will become agent to agent, AI to AI, in security, in customer service, in legal. I think eventually we'll all have our own assistant, and that assistant will know us really, really well. And hope. My goal in building what I build is that it will make the things that make life tough easier.
Okay. All right. So thank
Sorry, I'm not
you.
a short answer person.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's totally fine, actually. And yes, I was thinking about, women in AI and personal growth, basically, because like that's the sole purpose of my podcast, right? So I would like to ask, you're passionate about helping more women enter the AI industry. So what barriers exist there? And then how can young women confidently pursue career in technology?
It's tough. I think first, before you decide that, you have to build a confidence skill in yourself,
Mm,
right? I got so much restaurant training. Like, go work a hard job. Go work
mm,
as a bartender or a waitress or in a kitchen or in construction. Go be in a really male-dominated industry. And then the
mm,
guys in the Patagonia sweatshirts aren't so scary when you've been around real tough guys. And I think that's what really helped me. It was exposure to things that were actually tough, right?
mm,
So that's a lot different than someone talking over you in a boardroom, or it made me super tough when it came to work. You don't get to talk over me. You don't get to steal my idea. I will take you out if you try. And I think that I'm only like that because I had exposure. So
mm,
expose yourself to things that will make you tougher. But also, if you're struggling with trauma or any kind of, get the help you need to get. I was in therapy for years. It totally helped me get more confident. It totally made me more competent. It made me just better in so many different ways. And what I love about that, the younger generation, they're not afraid to talk about this stuff. They're not afraid to get the help. It really just comes back to know yourself, know what you can and cannot tolerate, and how comfortable you are in being outspoken. The other thing is know your stuff, right? Like
mm,
what I've taught myself over the last 4 years, there's no colleges teaching it. It doesn't exist, right? So if you're in school already, you need to get outside of the box and teach yourself the in-demand skills that will get you hired. So all the conversation design friends I have no problem getting work. They offer us remote, they pay us, they come to us, recruiters come to us because conversation design is hot right now, right? It's a big deal, it's in demand. Having in-demand skills that a lot of people don't have is how you get work.
mm,
So if you're in school for, computer science right now, it's not going to be enough. Like, you need more skills. What are the most in demand the skills out there right now? Look at the job descriptions, see what the skill sets are and plan wisely. But it's for me, it's been a 7 day a week, 4.5 year hustle of constant learning. Um, it's almost an addiction and I love it. And it might not be for everyone, but if you right now, it could be different in 6 months, but right now, if you're trying to break into tech, you have to be laser focused on not what even is a skill that's in demand right now, but what skill is going to be in demand next year?
mm,
What skill is going to be in demand when you graduate? Those are
mm,
hard answers to figure out. But people, I have a marketing major that lives in my house. She's not working. She has a job, but it's not in marketing because those jobs are going to be less and less. So maybe you don't want to be a marketing expert. Maybe you want to be an AEO expert, or, again, back to mapping, figuring out not just where you are, but what's coming, and what are the options around all those things related to that first thing? So it's a lot of soul searching, it's a lot of mapping, it's a lot of brainstorming, and it's a great way to use AI. You know, if you said to any of them, I'm in my third year of school in computer science. I've learned X, Y, and Z. I graduate in a year. What skills do you think will be in highest demand in 2 years? It's an it's worth a listen. It's worth the question. You know, I mean, things don't say the same, but right now, I've never seen a rate, even when the internet first started, I which yeah, I was alive for, and lived through, it was nothing like what's happening right now. So,
Mm.
you know, those forward thinking projections, predictions, um, if you find a good source that leads you down a right path of what might be next, pay attention to that because right now, you could come in and you can learn like conversation design is a perfect example. Um, we started with chatbots, deterministic chatbots, and now we're on generative voice agents. So even just within that, it progressed and changed so fast. Um, Not to say that there's not people still doing things the an older way, but when it's time to hunt for a job, you want to be in that sweet spot of what is in demand right now and in that area where there aren't a ton of people that do it. So that's the sweet spot for finding work. It's not easy to get there. It's a lot of for me, I just took this huge gamble 4.5 years ago and said, uh, AI, voice, chat, conversation design, and there are people who've been in it way longer than me, but I put all I put all my eggs in that basket and I got lucky. Or maybe I was just really well informed and just was very good at seeing what was coming next. But that, you need to show a company how you either you make money, save money, and have the skills that are in high demand that not a lot of people have, and figuring out how to get there. That's the toughest part is figuring out how to get there. Find me on LinkedIn. I help everybody.
All right. So yes, thank you, Anne. I think this has been amazing, actually. Personally, I've learned a lot. And talking about figuring out, the skill that would help you, a skill that isn't too rampant, but will be needed later in the future. I think that is where AI comes into, right? You could just, ask your AI, it brings in different options, and then you select the one that, you think you'll be good at, right? It's the one that kind of like fits your personality, and that way it works better, right? At least you don't get to do what you don't like just because it will be, it's what will be needed later. But yeah, thank you for that beautiful idea. Actually, something I'm gonna go check out immediately after this.
Oh, good,
And
good, good. I mean, I just hate to see people suffer and really what has been handed down to your generation isn't fair at all and would, if, like I said, if I can help, I do lots of mentoring and I'm happy to help.
all right. Okay. Thank you, Anne, for that one. Personally, I work as like a virtual assistant, right? So one thing I notice is a lot of people are into different kind of things and they will be needing assistance. So that is why I decided to learn virtual assistance because I
Uh-huh.
believe there is nowhere you wouldn't fit in. But I also need to, expand my skill sets, just like you have said. And yes, thank you. And finally, Anne, where can listeners get to, learn more about you and also connect with you? I know you mentioned LinkedIn, actually.
Yeah, I'm the only Ann Cantera on LinkedIn. Voiceofai.io, free learning resource. It's my love letter sort of to the younger community, like learn these things. And my business website is elemental with a YELEMENTYL intelligence.ai. But yeah, if you need mentorship or anything like that, just find me on LinkedIn.
All right, okay. And I'll put a link in the show notes so it's easily accessible for
Awesome,
listeners.
awesome. Thank you.
All right. And to my listeners, I want to say thank you for tuning in to Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, just as it did in me, make sure to share to someone who you think might need this. And also subscribe so you don't miss out on new episode. Once again, thank you, Anne. Do you
Thank
have a
you.
wonderful day ahead of you?
Thank you. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.